Joining us now is Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, Democrat from Minnesota, who is no stranger to these types of violent threats. Representative Omar is one of the most targeted members of the House of Representatives. The sheer number of threats she receives is second only to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, according to data from Democratic Party leaders. Congresswoman Omar, thank you so much for joining us, and especially at this critical hour.
Thank you for having me. I wish we were chatting and under better circumstances. What happened to Paul Pelosi is truly horrifying, and my thoughts are with him, Speaker Pelosi, their entire family, and everyone that cares about their safety and well-being, including many of us in Congress. This is just one of the most scariest things to see actually take place, because it is a chilling reminder for those of us that serving your district, someone with a family could be really dangerous for them. And I do hope that people remember that we are mothers, we are wives, we are husbands, and there is a need for people to see that human with the family, and not just a political enemy that needs to be attacked. And I hope that we get to a better place as a country.
Are you more scared for your own safety on a day like today, even tomorrow and beyond, I guess?
Of course. I mean, if people are able to get to the Speaker of the House that has full detail with her and has access to the level of security that she does, and harm her husband to the point where he needs surgery, can you imagine how somebody like me that doesn't have Capitol security detail, that doesn't have the resources to be able to get 24-hour on-the-clock security detail for my 4 children, my husband, and my relatives? I am mortified and really breathless at this moment. A lot of my family and friends have been sending me text messages saying, I hope you're boosting up security. And there are not enough resources for me to be able to do that. We already try when we're doing big public events to pay for that. And you've got the New York Post, you've got Fox News that are constantly mocking us for protecting ourselves when we are doing big events, because we face imminent danger. The level of death threats that I receive, it's not just harmful to me and my ability to feel safe and to continue to serve my district, but it's harmful to my family. It's harmful to the psyche of my children, who should just remain proud that their mom is a member of Congress and not worry about whether they could get killed because someone is trying to kill their mom and might find them in my absence. It is also dangerous and harmful to our staff, who are often young, idealistic, recent college graduates who just wanted the opportunity to serve. These are very scary times, and I do hope that political leaders around this country, especially Republicans, whether it is the former President Trump, whether it is Kevin McCarthy, whether it is people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who had a literal rifle in one of her ads, held it up in front of my head, the head of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, and Ayanna Pressley, understand that kind of imagery, that kind of rhetoric, all of those things put our lives in danger. I think back to all of the images that we used to watch on TV every election cycle of, let's do this to Speaker Pelosi, and what it has now produced. We need this to stop. We need Republicans to understand this dangerous rhetoric that they have fueled, this hate and violence. It's literally going to take somebody's life. And we're lucky that Paul survived this, but I'm afraid what will happen when they try to come for one of us next.
To your point about Marjorie Taylor Greene, she has previously said that Speaker Pelosi is a traitor to our country. She is guilty of treason. She gives aid and comfort to our enemies. Today, she said, violence and crime are rampant in Joe Biden's America. It shouldn't happen to Paul Pelosi. It shouldn't happen to innocent Americans. It shouldn't happen to me. Whether it's Atlanta, Chicago, New York, or San Francisco, we need to fund and support police and end the deadly nationwide crime. Praying for Paul Pelosi. What we've seen today is an effort on the part of right-wing conservatives and Republicans, some of them elected, some of them not, to try and fold this into a broader attack on crime, which is, as you know, one of the primary GOP messaging tactics ahead of the midterm elections. Do you sense there is any desire, maybe from leadership in the House, to change this calculation, to speak more forcefully about the violent rhetoric that is directed specifically and almost always at Democratic women who have gotten some semblance of power in our society or in American politics? Do you think anything changes after an attack like the one we saw in San Francisco?
It has to. This cannot continue. We shouldn't live in fear. Just because we've decided to serve our country, our constituents, and the ability to shape the way in which our country is governed. What the Republicans have put out in those statements that you read to me, I just want the audience to realize that it is dangerous, it is delusional, and it is disturbing. This level of deflection that the Republicans are doing really moves us away from actual honest accountability in this conversation. These people are the ones who voted against, right, any sort of accountability for their members who have incited violence against us, whether it is Marjorie Taylor Greene, again, who uses imagery in her campaigning with a literal rifle to our heads, whether it is Lauren Boebert, who says that we are terrorists and we are there to blow ourselves up, or whether it is countless numbers of Republicans, starting from the former president, who constantly incite hate and violence. I will tell you, I can trace the uptick of the level of death threats that I get from their rallies or any sort of Fox News or any right-wing media hits that mentions my name and says that I'm un-American. There is a direct link to that uptick. This past summer, my office saw a huge uptick in the level of death threats that we are getting. They have to be held accountable. They have to hold themselves accountable. And the American people need to recognize that what is happening to members of Congress, whether it is Republicans who have recently retired or been voted out in their primaries, whether it is what just happened to Paul Pelosi and the fear that now Speaker Pelosi and her family will live with for a really long time, and the trauma that they've experienced, what myself and others have experienced, all of that has a direct linkage to what Republicans are saying and doing to us every single day.